Hi, I'm John Kenfield from the Solutionist group with the 21st in a series of 50 videos about common causes of conflict in family business and what to do about them. Today I'm going to talk about parents as bosses and the conflict between nature, nurture and independence. Now, the concept of nature versus nurture as formation elements of an individual personality goes back to the ancient Greeks. They believed that there were innate abilities that people had. They were born with certain things. This obviously predates genetics. And they also thought that people were profoundly influenced by their environment, particularly in their growing up years. Modern psychology would in many ways support that. So would common sense, of course. During the growing up years, nature and nurture work within a family environment to play a very major role in the formation of individual personalities. In that process, depending on the parenting style, depending on the genetics, depending on the environment, individual children will grow up with either a sense of independence, a level of resilience and self-sufficiency, or not. And that will partly be innate, and it will be partly a result of the home environment and parenting styles. Now, parenting styles sometimes create unintended consequences, such that when a family member is effectively like a bird with a broken wing, and they are not strong, they are not resilient, they are not independent, in many families the natural response is nurture, and particularly from a mother figure, to protect that weak individual and to help them. Now, there's a fine line between doing what's required to help them get on their own feet and to provide a bit of wind under the wings and creating a dependency. The longer that support goes on, the more an individual may become dependent on family members as a replacement for their own lifestyle skills, and in later years as a source of financial support because they're not that good at making their own money. That can be a major cause of conflict when it gets transferred from the family environment into a business environment. As I've said in a number of earlier sessions, in essence, family business makes no sense. The core attributes and the core drivers that make up success in a family are in stark contradiction to the core drivers that make a successful business. The one is about love and nurture and support. The other is about competition and merit, and to an extent being better than the opposition, not necessarily beating them into submission. So if the parental and family style gets transferred into the workplace, and if it results in a less competent family member being treated equally or more than equally than a competent family member who perceives themselves to be working hard at developing skills, participation, contribution to the future of the business. If the reward system is then such that there is no differentiation, for example, I love my children equally, so I'll pay them the same, that can create enormous resentments. It can create a sense of unfairness, and it can create a lot of conflict ultimately within the family. Those conflicts are often between mother and father. Father, I'm stereotyping here obviously, father insists on performance, mother insists on support and equal treatment. That can create a problem between mum and dad where no problem should have existed, has not existed in the past. Similarly, the problem arises with siblings, where a less competent sibling is given equal opportunity or preferred against a more competent sibling, and even worse, when that less competent sibling, either consciously or unconsciously, works to the detriment of the business or the detriment of their siblings, because that's what they need to do to support their own low self-esteem. These are all recipes for the classic types of conflict we see that affect families in business, roll back into the family, and potentially can be very damaging to both. What do you do about them? Well, to my mind, the only practical solution is a staged one. The first thing you do is try and change the equation by providing specific support, often in the form of coaching or psychological counselling, although that tends to be a phrase that scares people off, for the individual who is not performing, and probably a certain amount of mentoring for the aggrieved family members as well. There may be some mediation between mother and father just to focus on a different requirement, different outcome, because they've taken the child requirements into the adult requirements and they don't work anymore. So changing, first of all, upgrading, upskilling, supporting, also recognising reality and doing some organisational restructuring, which makes sure that the right people are put in the right roles for objective reasons. If somebody doesn't perform, they will therefore in the business be treated as a business employee, not as a family member. If this has been useful to you, please stick with further episodes in this series. Thank you.